much of your recent book discusses the national humiliation concept. So can you elaborate on what this concept means and how that affects foreign relations of China?
In the book, I talk about links between national pride and national humiliation and how we need to understand both sides. In the book, I concentrate on national humiliation because people don't talk about it that much. They mostly talk about China's successes. So my purpose is to show how the pride and humiliation are always connected and interwoven. Mm-hmm. What I look at is the people who talk about national security and international relations and national identity in China. And I find that there's a lot of conspiracy theories in China that even as China is very successful right now, that various international forces from the West and from America, they say, are trying to conspire to bring China down, so that it's not a question of relations between the US and China being cooperative or being involved in trade and other things that bring them together, but there's always this undercurrent of anxiety and suspicion, which is, most countries have it, and I find it's just much more prevalent in China, that even the liberal scholars who talk about cooperating with the West are still doing it against this background of suspicion and anxiety.
According to your book, China uses nationalistic sentiment to govern its people. So what do you think are the consequences?
China's had patriotic education since the early 20th century, so it's not just a communist thing. The nationalists did it when they ruled China, and then they did it again when Chiang Kai-shek fled to Taiwan. What has happened is that the content of patriotism and patriotic education has changed to be more than just China is rising and China is liberated. So in the 1950s, patriotic education was all about China being liberated, China beating the imperialists, China kicking out imperialists. It's more of a positive thing that China has stood up, as Mao said. What happened in the 1990s is that it shifted from this positive China standing up and being something new and different, and they called it New China. It shifted to cultivate memories of the past, of China as a victim in the past. So rather than looking to the future as a socialist country generally does, what happened is they shifted to this backward-looking nationalism, backward-looking in the sense of talking over and over again about China's modern history at the hands of the West and Japan as a victim of imperialism. And they would say things like, China has suffered the most of any country in the world.